What's up guys, Dan here, Coalcracker, Bushcraft. I'm at the shop today. It's actually a space in the shop that we had a lot of stuff for a long time, so we had it emptied out. So I'm like taking full advantage of this because once this gets filled up, I'm not gonna be able to do this anymore. So that's why I'm where I'm at today. But I was here, I was getting some gear together at the shop to go out because it's super nice outside, and it just got me thinking, and I wanted to share with everybody, you know, my mindset around how I compartmentalize all of my equipment when I'm going out, because nothing is worse than being totally unorganized in the woods. And when you're unorganized and you really don't have a system in place, that really cuts back on our comfort. And at the end of the day, the whole goal of this whole thing is go out in the woods, enjoy ourselves, be comfortable, and be happy. So when you're digging through equipment, you can't find stuff, you're losing stuff, and totally unorganized, it just sets up for a bad time. So I think over the years I really got this system dialed in pretty well, so that's what I wanted to share with you. So when I think about going out, I always start with my core equipment. There's equipment that I carry no matter where I'm going, no matter what season it is. I have that same equipment with me all the time. And then I have this secondary equipment, and secondary not in the sense of it's like I really don't need it and it's like I just bring it for fun. It's secondary equipment in the sense that it changes trip to trip, season to season, weather condition to weather condition. So that's what we're going to work through today. So first thing that I always go with is what are the essentials that I'm going to need throughout getting to camp and being at camp and breaking down camp. Like, what are those essentials? So I always start with what's on my body. Now, I'm not a big fan of having a lot. I like to run, I guess in the tactical world, you'd say slick. I like to run pretty slick because I like when I get into camp to be comfortable. And generally when you're moving through the woods, you're not using a lot of your equipment anyway. So I like stuff accessible, but I don't need a ton of things hanging off of me. So for myself, a pocket knife in my pocket is just an everyday kind of thing. So that's always there. But then my on-person stuff is going to be my belt knife and my belt pouch. Now, my knife, I mean, obvious reasons, we use a knife a ton while we're at camp and while we're working on projects, and maybe even while hiking in if we need to cut limbs or if we need to get some materials collected and stuff like that. Belt pouch for me, again, this is go-to emergency style items, but it is stuff that I use all the time. So when I say emergency, it's not like I don't ever go inside here, but fire, I have cordage, I have a flashlight in there, I have another pocket knife. So this is stuff that I can get to quickly and accessible, that I use quite often, that is just there, and I always have it with me. Now my plan is when I'm out is not to just have to live off of that stuff, but that is like my core, that's what's on me, okay? And then what else goes with me is bigger equipment that I feel like, hey, it's gonna be a pain in the butt in order to carry on my person itself. So that's where my Haversack comes into play. So we're looking there at water bottles, we're looking at possible axes, and then as far as organization and stuff like this goes, with gear, I have just a roll down bag, just a small bag that rolls down that's the size of a Haversack, because it goes to the bottom, leaving a lot of extra room. Now with this roll down bag, it's that equipment that I use no matter what the scenario, what time of the year it is. That's going to be more fire starting devices, sewing kits, sharpening equipment, all that kind of stuff is inside here. So I have this, and this is part of things that I need every time I go out in the woods, but I'm not going to have on my person per se. They just go in my Haversack. Now, the reason I'm talking about organization in that bag, it's nice because that bag sits towards the bottom. Now we have lots of extra room here for equipment that we might just need for the day, or because the season's different, rain gear, we have more availability there. And I still, even if everything is craziness outside of this gear, I know where this gear is, I know exactly what I have, because it's the same stuff over and over and over every time I go into the woods. So if I have this thing packed up with, I don't know, some beers and some food supplies and a saw and everything else, and I think, hey, I need my sewing kit, it's here, because I always have that tucked away. So, you know, water bottle and all that good stuff. So that's like my primary equipment, okay, that no matter what's going on, no matter where I'm at, That's what I'm rolling with. I got that as my base. And then we go into the secondary equipment, and that's really where the backpack comes into play in my mind. The backpack, again, this is going to be user preference, but this varies depending on what's going on. So like just off the top of my head, this pack here itself, you know, we're thinking sleep equipment. Are you going sleeping bag or wool blanket? Are you going 2 wool blankets? Or are you going hammock camping, right? We have pouches that we can just put random stuff in. Again, it's things that I generally think maybe I don't need every single day, but for this trip I'm going to want other food supplies, cooking supplies and stuff like that. And what type of shelter system? You going with an oilcloth tarp, or are you going with a tent? Like, what is happening there, and how is this system totally evolving every single time? So that seems pretty simplistic. I have this gear that's just like this staple equipment that I always carry, and then I have this like secondary stuff. The secondary stuff is ever changing. It honestly, I mean, it depends. If I'm going out to shoot a video and it's going to be a cooking video, then some of the sleep gear I might just ditch for the day and put a lot more cooking equipment in here. And if I'm going to go just for a hike and I don't even need anything else, I can still just take this equipment here, haversack, my belt pouch, my knife, and I'm good to go that way too. So my gear is really divided. It's nice with the table here. We're really divided out here of this stuff that never changes versus stuff that's going to be constantly changing. So when you're setting up your equipment or you're home playing with it, lay all your stuff out and think, hey, what are the things that I use and I really need all year round, everywhere I go? They go in one pile, and then everything else, the other pile. And then if it's like really not essential stuff, it's going to be in this pile. But then you can even narrow this pile down more by saying, well, you know, maybe only once a year I need snow goggles per se, because we just did a video on that. Like, maybe we can pull that out, thin out our kit, make it a little bit more efficient for us while we're out there. So organized and thoughtful, it's going to make it so much better while you're out there. So definitely this weekend, get to lay all your gear out and play with it a little bit. So that's my mindset around gear, how I set my stuff up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit like and subscribe down below. You can also check us out at coalcrackerbushcraft.com for all our classes, all our gear, and our blog. And until next video, stay in the woods. I'm gonna have to get, because all the videos I'm so far back, I'm gonna have to get something to throw at the camera. So I'll throw fists. Oh, quick one, because people are big. Oh yeah, so I got a good shiner. I was at the gym and I was pulling down a thing and there's a carabiner on it right in the eyeball. So yeah, nobody beat me up. Unfortunately not, because I would kick their ass.